Hello and welcome to Willow Springs in America for round 3 of the core World Endurance Championship season. It's race 1 from Willow Springs, of course, the third round of the season from this legendary international raceway. I am joined then alongside me again by Adam Weller. How you doing, Adam? And welcome to Willow Springs.
I'm doing good. Welcome to Willow Springs yourself. I think we're in for a very interesting 2 hours of racing.
Now then, Adam, you know the series more than me. You've been around the series longer. What shall we kind of be looking out for in today's race?
Well, in his series debut, we have TRL Immortal of IMP Racing out front, starting on pole position in his first ever event, which must be a very rare occurrence in WEC history.
Oh yeah, but it shows his expertise.
We also have another change in the LMP lineup, which is Mento 89 in the Concrete Climax Bentley instead of the Audi. And it looks like we're about to go green, so...
We're going green very shortly, Adam. So it's TRL Immortal on pole, Ninch in second, Mento is out in third. Forbo, Red Bull Rider, RS, Pikey Mikey, Armada, Nico Demas, Duke Adam, AGHG, and David B. And it looks like the safety car's pulled in, Adam, and it looks like we're underway in racing this one.
We are indeed underway. Who's going to get to the first corner?
Hang on, they're coming up to the green flag now, and yes, we are away. We're underway and we're racing. It's a good start by TRL Immortal. Covers the inside line by Mento pretty quickly as well to make sure that Mento has got to jump on Inchin and into second position. No contact behind, we're safely through the first 2 corners with TRL Immortal escaping, Adam.
What a brilliant start by Mento 89, but Ninchin is fighting back immediately. Obviously, he does not want to settle for third position in the early stages of this race.
Well, Ninchin's definitely going to be right there, and he's trying to find, again, a way through towards the top end of the circuit. They go now then as they come over Monroe's Ridge and down this straight then towards Wings Leg at 7, and then the sweeper, this long right-hander here at turn number 8, and Mento escaping Ninchin slightly there, but Ninchin is still there or thereabouts.
Oh yes, and this corner here, I reckon this will be a hotbed for incidents over the course of the race. It's so easy to get it wrong at this track, and particularly in the final corner.
Well, what I seem to like then about the circuit, I've never been to Willow Springs before, but it's that long corner, that turn number 8. You know, this circuit just looks so fast. So, you know, these cars topping 200 or so kilometres an hour throughout the corners on this track.
Yes, a brilliant old school circuit combined with exciting multi-class racing. You can't get any better than that.
Well, the first race then here at Willow Springs took place on Sunday the 22nd of November. Oh, and we got an instant behind. It looks like it's Armada. It was Armada. Look at Ninchin now, it's all over the back of Mento.
Oh, indeed. I don't think that Mento's too comfortable at the moment. Ninchin is hounding him for that second position.
That don't look too good at all, actually, for Mento at the moment, as TRL Immortal pulling away from the Bentley driver, who, as you said, has just switched from the Audi team to the Bentley. Was there a particular reason for the switch?
I believe the Audi is a very challenging car to drive, and it was just generally felt among himself and his teammate Glenal's 81 that they'd be better off in the Bentley, so they've gone with it for this round, and I believe that Arna, which is the team Fortbo is representing today, will also be making that switch before the next round at Laguna Seca.
Well, Fortbo, they're currently lying in 5th position in this one. There's quite a heavy elevation change in this track. So will this kind of prove a difficulty for the drivers as Ninchin goes through?
Yeah, kicking up a bit of dust there as well, so good move from him, and RS is still out front in GTE ahead of Pikey Mikey. Pikey Mikey actually had the lead in the early stages, so obviously there's been a move there off camera.
Armada's coming out the pit lane there, and Mento is not giving up really, is he? He's still right there on the back of Ninchin, so we definitely, both of these two, don't want to settle for third position.
No, certainly not, and Mento's never a quitter, especially so early on in a race.
Nolan, the first race took place here Sunday, 22nd of November 1953. So as you said, a very old school circuit. As Mento topping 300 kilometres an hour to this long right hand.
Oh, did you see there? There was a bit of an incident.
Was that Ninching pick up a bit of dirt?
Yes, made a bit of contact with ADHG 1000 actually.
Where was AJG now? He's dropped down to 12, so that's not looking too healthy for him. In fact, he's still going but crawling in the background there by the looks of it.
Yes, indeed, and there he is. He's actually disconnected from the race, so clearly...
Not great then for ADHD. Some difficulties going on there for him.
Yes, and we're now on board with Duke Adam 46, who's hounding the back of David B165 in the Mazda RX-7. Looks like they're going to have a bit of a battle here.
Well, around they go here then. Lap 7 out of 116. We're hearing a miscommunication by the drivers. Put AGHG out of the race, and not good then for AGHG.
No, definitely not. It hasn't been the best start to the season for him, and hopefully his fortunes will take a better turn in future rounds.
Well, past they go then. It's long straightaway here then. A very fast kind of pit straight here, and then they turn pretty sharply then into this left-hander. It's probably one of the slowest corners on the circuit, actually, knowing the corners are pretty fast circuit.
Yes, and it looks as if Ninchin is beginning to close up an Immortal there on the timing screens.
Red Bull Rider, fastest lap of the race now.
That's an impressive time there from the American driver in the Pescarolo.
Round they come then. It is still TRL Immortal. He's getting the first kind of back markers here then. He's coming up against Duke. Coming up to lap number 10 out of 116. And because the circuit's so fast, they're catching the slower cars pretty quickly and pretty early on in this one.
Don't know if you noticed there, but soon after Immortal passed, Duke Adam 46 got rather caught out, maybe slightly startled by the sheer speed of the Peugeot, and went off himself. So not a great move there.
Round turn number 3 into turn number 4 now, and opposite then the Budweiser balcony then on that top section. Round this right-hander, then they'll dip down turn number 5 and then through Monroe's Bridge at turn number 6, and TRL Immortals still out front in the lead of this one.
Yeah, that corner there, that can be a bit of a tricky one, especially in a car with no aero. In an LMP car, it's not quite so bad, and in a GTE as well, because you obviously have the aerodynamics assisting you.
This track's great, actually. I'm quite enjoying seeing all these LMP cars flashing past the screen at them.
It's very reminiscent of the Lime Rock Park races of the past in the American Le Mans series, with the way the track is. Good old school circuit, a very short layout as well, so traffic is obviously a very large factor.
TRL Immortal passing Nico Demas now in that BMW, also kicks up some dirt, and now here comes Ninchin.
Yeah, Ninchin seems to be just about maintaining the gap to TRL Immortal at this point.
Well, it looks like he has closed slightly. He's definitely left Mento.
Yes, Mento appears to be falling back a little at this point as Red Bull Rider 20 puts a lap on Duke Adam 46.
Yeah, there goes Red Bull Rider in the Pescarolo. How far is he behind Mento? Could there be a chance of him catching up, or...?
There could well be. I think pit stop strategies will be critical here as ever. And sure, if someone manages to put a long stint on their tyres, they can definitely leapfrog the driver ahead of them.
Well, and TRL Immortal, I just said that in his first race, will this hopefully be then a sign of a good season ahead of him, and will this sort of form continue throughout the rest of the year?
Hopefully so. It's always brilliant to have an extra factor in the front runners, and he's got a very dependable teammate in Iwazir. So between the two of them, they could become one of the more formidable forces in the LMP category.
Ninchin's definitely closing now. He's right there then, as they turn around the Castrol corner.
He is definitely very close up now.
TRL Immortal, the German driver, still holding his form now, however. Oh, and there's a car there, there's Armada getting in the way. And then TRL Immortal did not get to switch out the way there. TRL Immortal running a bit wide. Here comes Ninchin trying to get around the outside. Can't quite find a way through though yet, but Ninchin right there.
Yes, and good driving there by the GT leader RS to get out of the way of that leading battle. No one wants to be caught between two prototypes as a GTE driver.
Well, TRL Immortal's got Ninchin right with him as they head round this long right-hander, and one small mistake here, the back end goes to anything, and that's a pretty hefty ride there into the outside wall.
Yes, it often feels like there's magnets.
Car off!
Oh yeah, that was Fort Bow having a bit of a moment in the Audi. And that sort of proves my point that the track at that section almost feels like there's magnets in the dusty runoff area. It just almost sucks you in if you get the line ever so slightly wrong.
Immortal picking up dust there on the exit, bit sideways, and Ninchin is trying to capitalise it, but then Ninchin has a slight moment as well as they head through turn number 3.
And apparently race control spotted some slight contact between Armada and TRL Immortal, but nothing major enough to cause any damage.
Well, and hope that Armada can go and continue. Bit sideways there by Ninchin as well.
Yes, and no further action will be taken on that incident, so there'll be no change to the results because of it.
Glad to hear it, as TRL Immortal still in the lead and pretty much dominating. There is Fort Bow there, and as you said then, in the Audi, it's being replaced for the next round as we ride back on board with Ninchin again through turn 8.
Yes, it seems Immortal is getting away slightly now, but Nin's by no means letting him drive off into the sunset.
No, we're definitely right there with him and trying to hold that line as they head for the Castro corner for the 16th time. Then I need 116 laps in this one, with which will make up the 2-hour race.
Yes, 14 laps plus the 2 formation laps.
Yes, 14 laps. Yeah, it's hard remembering actually. So of course it's minus the 2 laps in the top left-hand corner because of the 2 formation laps at the start of the race.
Yes, unfortunately that is forced upon us by the current tyre glitch in Gran Turismo, but I'm sure that'll sort itself out in time.
Well then, it's good news then coming through the kind of Gran Turismo servers, and that there hopefully will be some downloadable content on the horizon, so, benefit the series.
Yes, at the moment it seems to be getting forever delayed, but hopefully by the time May hits us, we might have some new content on the way.
We're hearing something about some hopeful Senna DLC coming out as well, so that could be quite interesting.
Yeah, strong rumour of that, so that'd be a very good addition to the series, as Immortal getting caught up behind Duke Adam 46 in the Corvette there, all drifting right wide as well, nearly taking out Ninchin.
Ninchin definitely closing, however, on TRL Immortal. He's still behind him at the moment, but he's definitely closer.
Yeah, he definitely made a bit of time there, while Immortal got caught in the GT action.
Well then, and we were speaking to series director Matthew Story earlier, who is Mento in this one. He's thinking about expanding the series even further. There's some talk of some support race packages hopefully, and definitely turning Core into a kind of global brand and franchise for virtual racing.
Indeed, and more on that will reveal itself through Core Facebook and many other outlets, so keep your eyes posted on Core social media for more information on all that.
Well, as you put it earlier on, then Core Facebook page is the key to Core, so definitely go and have a look at that then. It's Core on Facebook, and all the information will be posted on there in due time.
Indeed, and here's Ninchin seems to have closed up on Immortal again. Looks like he might be just looking at how Immortal goes around the corners to potentially line up a move in future laps.
Well, and being a fast circuit like this, which is the best corner to make an overtaking move on? It seems to be that section turn 1, 3 and 4 mainly, because then some of these corners seem just too fast really to pull off an overtaking move on.
Yes, if you can get a run off the final corner and get the slipstream, then turn 1 is definitely somewhere where we can have an overtaking manoeuvre.
Across the start-finish line they come here then. It seems that TRL Immortal seems faster out that last bit, and then Ninchin managing to catch during this first half of the lap.
Yes, just because the cars are identical Peugeot 908s in terms of look and indeed livery does not mean that they're identical underneath. Both drivers will probably be running slightly different setups and possibly even different gear ratios. So,
well, with the performance parity of the series, it didn't really matter what car you're in, you can still challenge for the victory.
yes, if you're a quick driver and you know how to set up a car, then you have a good chance of winning a race in WEC.
And also the GT traffic will also be helpful in the overtaking procedures, because if you get stuck up behind them, the car behind will be able to capitalise on the loss of speed.
Yes, and it can work both ways if you do exactly what Immortal's just done here, which is get the GT car between you.
That's a nice way of doing it, sort of going through, and then Nico Demis couldn't quite get out of the way in time, and Lynch in there kind of just slipping there under a spell and being held off a bit. But here is Armada in front, and there's been some problems for Armada in this one so far. It's not been the best race for him.
No, it hasn't, but we still have at most of 100 laps left for him to change all that.
Round they go again then. This is the turn through section, and then up then towards the Budweiser balcony here at 4. And this is where Ninchin seems to be just a touch quicker. And then when they head down the hill, TL Immortal hits another gear and then just speeds off into the horizon.
Indeed, it seems that Immortal is has the car very well hooked up on the high-speed sections of the circuit.
Round they come again then. Turn 8 is fast section. TL Immortal taking a very much wider line through that one. It seems that Ninchin just a tad. In fact, Ninchin there with a bit of a brake and dab down the foot and down the brakes. Was that a wise move for him, or was that just to line up his pit stop?
I believe it might have just been to ease off for the pit stop, just so he didn't get caught out on the dust or anything.
How far is Mento behind? He'll definitely go through, but when he pits, then Ninchin will be able to get back through again pretty easily.
Already lost over 30 seconds to the leading pair. That's surprising there.
Well, now then...
Didn't make it past Ninchin in the pits either, and now he's had a moment.
Mento's gone. He's had a bit of a moment coming out of the Castral corner, and in fact, it's only now the top 3 who are still on the lead lap in this one.
Indeed, seems that the top 2, Ninchin and TRL Immortal, are streaking away on this occasion.
Duke Adams there in 10th position. How can he improve so far in this race and try and challenge for a higher good position?
It all depends, really, if he has the pace.
Oh! How close did he want to get? Ninchin's done him.
Ninchin's managed a brilliant outlap from his pit stop and overlapped TRL Immortal during the pit stops. That's brilliant.
He's done the undercut.
He has done the undercut, and in quite some fashion as well.
Now, can TL Immortal find a way through on his debut in the series?
Well, Immortal is a seasoned online racer in Gran Turismo, so I'm sure there aren't many out there better qualified to make an overtaking move on this game.
Well then, here is a full rundown then of the positions at the moment. So Ninchin leading from TL Immortal. That must be about 1/10 of a second. In fact, TL Immortal looks like he's lining something up at the moment.
Yes, he might be able to get a run on him here at the exit, the last corner. Has he got the slipstream? Will he make it past going into the first corner? Going to the move.
He's making a move to the inside.
Ooh, I think they might
squeezing Ninchin slightly. Bit of a contact possibly.
I think there could have been some slight panel bashing there, but nothing to...
He's done him surely on the exit. Can he get away through? Ninchin still on the inside. Bit of a squeeze out wide. Says, no, you're not having that section. And Ninchin down the hill again, trying to pull away from TRL Immortal, but he's still there right with him.
Yes, and now we're approaching the high-speed section of the circuit where Immortal seems to be at his best. So we might be about to see an overtaking manoeuvre, aided by Armada in the McLaren.
Well, here is now then the rundown of results. So Ninchin leading, TRL Immortal there in second. Mento 89 in third, Rebel Rider in fourth, Forbo fifth, RS 96 there in sixth, Nico Demis 7th, and Pikey Mikey there in 8th.
Yes, and Immortal just lost a bit of time to Ninchin as they were rounding the last corner. He went slightly wide and nearly found himself in the dusty runoff area but he managed to just pull it back and get around the corner, albeit losing about half a second in the process.
As it looks like they go then. This is now up to turn number 3 here, and now turn number 4. Lots of traffic here then, and who's going to benefit from all this in front? There is Red Bull rider there in 4th position. Will he affect Ninchin going through this corner? Not yet, he doesn't. Ninchin can't find a way past Red Bull rider yet, but hopefully will do pretty shortly.
Wise move there from Red Bull rider, just backing off to allow the battling leaders to go past.
Look at the speed difference there. TOL Immortal really closing up on Ninchin during that section.
Yeah, differing lines through that corner. You can go around that corner about 4 or 5 different ways and still have a very quick time.
Oh, there come there, more traffic in front. David B's there getting out of the way, and now here comes RS as well into the mix. He moves out of the way pretty sharply as well for Ninchin. Will he do the same for TOL? Yes, he will.
Yep, good driving there from the GTE drivers.
Well, then the straight then is one of the, as I said, then one of the major overtaking places, coming down then the Chillingsworth, the wings leg straight through the sweeper, and then through the turn 9 section, and then down that far start finish straight into turn number 1 is probably the main overtaking place here.
Oh yes, certainly. It's always good to have a part of the track where you have a bit of heavy braking followed by a chance to slipstream, as it looks like TRL Immortal might be trying to go around the outside.
That would be a bold move, wouldn't it? Jeez, and he managed to find a way through. We saw something like that with Mento earlier on in the season, so it'll be good to see if they can emulate that success again. Down the straight here. Can he line up a move on Ninchin? No, not quite yet.
That would have been a very ambitious manoeuvre from that far back.
Well then, it's the radiuses of this track as well then. Round this corner now then, which is the Rabbit's Ear corner. It's a 450-degree radius, and then it's a 900-degree radius at the sweeper at turn 8, and then turn 9 is a 600-degree radius, so you can really get up a lot of speed around these blunt curves.
Yeah, a brilliant mix of heavy positive cambers and tight turns. Excellent circuit.
Oh, they go again then here. TOL Immortal very close to the back of Ninchin. Hopefully, do you reckon he'll be able to find a way through quickly?
He should be able to get past if he can get a decent line out of that last corner. It appears to me that he's losing a bit of time on the exit, which is just costing him the opportunity to make a move going into the first turn.
It seems that TOL Immortal is faster around the first part of the corner, first part of that long right-hander, and then in the second part, Ninchin is just able to pull away slightly.
Yeah, Ninchin seems to make up a bit of time just when they need it, going through the apex of the second section of that corner.
Here's Nico moving out of the way now. TOL Immortal very close, but how will the tyre wear play into effect here? We've heard it's a very important factor indeed.
Yes, because there's so many right-hand corners, long sweeping right-hand corners, such as this one. Tyre wear is very prominent here, as we see a bit of contact there between Nin and Immortal. But yes, tyre wear is very
front left
prominent.
tyres.
Yes.
Front left then getting all the getting the most of the damage, as Armada again going very slowly down the pit straight. But as he said, that TOL Immortal and Ninchin having a slight bit of contact there.
Yes, and bringing it back to the tyre wear point, it's definitely the left side tyres that take most of the wear at this circuit.
Now they go then through this left-hander at turn number 3 and up there towards turn number 4.
Yes,
down there. Yep.
This section can be very troublesome if you do have a GTE battle ahead of you as an LMP driver, because you could end up losing 3 to 4 seconds biding your time behind them or risking a move, as Immortal just risks a move here and passes him.
TOL Immortal down the inside, easy as you like it.
Yes, he finally took advantage of being quicker around the first half of that corner.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see whether TOL Immortal can now pull away from Ninchin, but with tyre wear being such an important issue, how long will it be until the first round of stops take place?
Well, we already had them, didn't we?
Yeah, second round of stops even.
Yes, and I reckon we probably have until perhaps lap 40 until that happens, or lap 38
So
officially.
how many stops then do you reckon we'll need in this race?
I think that very much depends not only on strategy but category as well. So I think it's very hard to predict what the drivers will be getting up to on this occasion.
33 seconds now then, the gap between Mento and Ninja. So these front two escaped with the leaders.
Yes, it now seems that the two Peugeots are in a class of their own at the moment, which must be a brilliant coupe for the French manufacturer.
Well then, from down in the pits, our core reporter just telling us in my earpiece here, and it's 4 pit stops for an LMP category car and 3 for a GTE. So that's how many kind of rounds of pit stops we should be seeing, Adam.
Yes, that sounds about right. So obviously the LMP cars have that much more tyre wear to deal with because they put that much more load through the tyres going around the corners slightly quicker.
Here comes Duke Adam around this left-hander. He's currently in 10th position. He's battling there with Armada. And how far is David B up the road?
I think David B must be quite a way up the road, must be at least a few seconds up.
Here is Ninshinden. In fact, TOL Immortal has already started to open up the gap at the moment.
Yes, Immortal is definitely trying to build a gap on Ninchin again after regaining his lead following the undercut from Ninchin, and he's probably hoping to build a big enough gap that he doesn't get undercut again.
Well, they come then now towards the sweeper at turn number 8. Again, Ninchin, great shots then of the cars going through that corner before kind of dab on the brakes and then flick it into 9 and then down that long straight. So about 9 laps or so until the next round of pit stop. So really, Ninchin needs to be right there on the back of TRL Immortal to try and make that undercut work again.
Yes, but with TRL Immortal, that's definitely easier said than done.
Well, yeah, TRL Immortal first round in the series, and look, he's gone already.
Yes, he's definitely making his mark on WEC on his first attempt.
Well, they go then, this left-hander and then this right-hander here then at the balcony corner and then down this hill then. Sharp elevation changes, so there's always something to worry about in this one as they pass David B.
Yes, David B didn't look like he was quite up to pace there, so he might be about to lose a place to Duke Adam 46.
And does the first race affect the second race in terms of like the grip positions and that? Or are they all separate races on their own?
No, they combine the results of the 2 races to get the final result. The results of this race will be the grid order for the second race at Willow.
And so if you do badly, then that will affect the way your teammate starts for the next race.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. You have to be a team player in this event.
And always work for the team to be the best for what the team can achieve. So you can risk a high manoeuvre incident, but then that could drop you back 5 or 6 places where your teammate will have to start for the next race.
Yes, and it's all very well gunning for quick times, but if you don't have the consistency during the race, you're not only going to be affecting yourself, as you rightly say, you will be affecting your entire team.
He was Duke Adam then lying in 10th position. We've just seen Fortboy go past RS, who I'm guessing is in the pit lane, or was that a truck battle we just saw there?
Yes, it looks as if Duke Adam is catching up to David B at the moment. It looks like he might be lining him up for a move.
Is this for position then?
Yes, this is for position, I believe.
Here is Duke Adam then, right onto the back now of David B through turn number 3 now. Bit of a double right there by Duke Adam. Lost a bit of time there maybe on the exit to David B. But well, Duke getting his time then?
The Corvette obviously has a reputation for being very quick in straight lines, and it definitely lives up to that in WEC with a 631 horsepower motor.
Here he comes again then. Where does the car come up behind? Is that Red Bull Rider trying to find a way past Duke now? Will that cause Duke some difficulties while trying to get through?
Could
on
well
David
do.
B?
This is definitely not an extremely
ideal.
comfortable section to be caught by a LMP car, or indeed for an LMP driver to catch a GTE car.
Well, Red Bull Rider there trying to go around the outside. That's a bold move.
No, it's a bold move, but he has the aerodynamics to do it.
Runner coming in and it's left-hander now. Duke just dropping back very slightly from David B there on that one.
Indeed, but now David had to go wide there. Red Bull took him on the inside, so perhaps David lost a little bit of time to Duke.
But they come then now towards this left-hander. Where is the main advantage going to be? In fact, it seems that Duke had him closing around these kind of tightish corners, whereas David B can escape down the straights.
Yes, that's surprising. Perhaps he has a little more aero. That might be a factor there.
Right, around they come here then. Now heading up to the sweeper corner, this long right-hander section of the circuit. Now then, would it be advisable for Duke Adam to just dive bomb it down one of the corners and just kind of hope for the move to stick kind of thing?
It's never advisable to go for a move that you're not sure of in endurance racing.
Well, yeah, you can't win the race on the first lap.
No, and even on the penultimate lap.
You've always got to be there right at the end, and we've still got, what, an hour and 20 minutes to go in this one.
Indeed we do, and it looks like we have interesting battles going on throughout the field, so this race should be a very interesting one to observe for everyone at home.
Up they come then now towards this left-hander again here then. Duke Adam trying to close on the gap, and the gap then is very stable. No one's really making many movements. It's Pikey Mikey behind trying to come and lap these cars now.
Yes, clearly Pikey Mikey has a very fast Corvette. He must have the setup nailed for this circuit.
Now Pikey Mikey's blowing the field away, look, as he comes around then, and these GT cars all as well have got this performance parity on, so it's showing how good Pikey Mikey's driving in the Chevrolet.
Yes, and he's not even leading. Of course, we have RS96 in the Ford GT leading the way for FRT.
Who's actually ahead of an LMP car.
Yes, it seems that Fortbo's having a very tough day here at Willow Springs.
Is Fortbo the one in the Audi? He is, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Round they go in then this section, and who are we looking at now? This is Mento, and he's going through some back markers, and nothing really going on there with Mento at the moment that we should kind of worry about as he goes down this straight and into this fast turn 8 section. He's definitely lost some ground to the two leaders, about what, a 30 to 40 second gap now.
Yes, indeed. He does seem to be struggling to keep with the pace of the Peugeot drivers. Perhaps he will find pace as the race wears on.
When they come into turn number 1 now, through the section, and Mento's lost it, going too fast through the Castrol corner, and that's what happens when you go too fast around that one.
There are certain cars you want to go rally crossing in. A Bentley Speed 8 definitely isn't one of them. That must have been a heart-in-the-mouth moment.
200 kilometres an hour, think of the damage that would have done to the car as well.
Yes, and of course the tyres would be dirty, so it's very easy to then just understeer off going around the next corner.
Here's Ninchin. How far is the gap now then between him and TRL Immortal? It does seem as if TRL Immortal has opened that gap a bit more.
Yes, it looks as if TRL has really put the hammer. Oh no, look, TRL made a pit stop.
And in fact, TRL Immortal only just behind after a pit stop, so that's how far he's been up the road.
Yes, so now of course they rejoin each other, but it seems that Ninchin made a pit stop again. So
what's going on? Oh. Ninchin's gone.
No, that was Fortbo.
I just saw Ninchin. Was that Fortbo? That's good then. I was going to say Ninchin. Kind of mouth moment. In fact, now Duel Immortal past Ninchin, and Ninchin's still got to make his stop.
No, I think Ninchin has already made his stop. I'm fairly sure that I saw his tyres were relatively new.
So this is then, again, the battle for the lead then.
Yes, but unfortunately, Ninchin isn't going to get the chance to hold off TRL Immortal on this occasion because he's already capitalised on the mistake from Fort Bow.
Well, yeah, that mistake with Fort Bow, again, with Ninchin being that close to the action, he could have made some damage to his tyres by locking up and getting some wheel spin, and that's going to hurt the performance of the tyres.
Yeah, it's just it's very hard to get back into your rhythm after you've seen a fellow car just spear across the front of your car. It's a very startling thing to happen to you, and it just takes you a little while to get back into the groove after something like that.
Well, and this battle's still raging here at the Willow Springs Raceway. TRL Immortal still leading the way then, a German driver in the Peugeot. Behind him by probably about 0.4 of a second is Ninchin. Mento 89 there in third. Red Bull Rider 20 in fourth. RS there in fifth. Nico Demis 6th. Pikey Mikey 7th. David B 165 8th. Duke Adam there in 9th. Fort Bow 10th. And Armada 11th. Bit of a slide there by Ninchin though, Adam.
Yes, and Fort Bow has decided to pull over by the looks of it after his spin a couple of minutes ago. He's seemingly retired from this race.
Yes, that's not looking too good for him in this one. Talking about this Willow Springs racetrack, I actually drove the circuit earlier on in Gran Turismo using the Peugeot car, and it's a pretty fast circuit, and it's a very one in which you can get it wrong very, very easily.
It is indeed, as we've mentioned before now, it's just one wheel on the dirt and you are done for. You're around, you're spinning, you might even end up meeting a barrier.
Well, that's what I found as well. It's just one wheel off, and especially this bit's the hardest bit, this turn 8 going into turn 9 bit, because turn 8 is effectively kind of nearly flat, and then turn 9 is a bit of a dab of the brake to get that right and get the right line going.
Yes, and I found while doing laps around here that sometimes you can be 10-15 miles per hour off on the exit of the corner by making the slightest mistake.
And that's where people can then close up on you. Mento there, a bit of smoke coming out.
Yep, just a bit of a skid there, nothing major though. Pikey Mikey off.
Right, oh, there's a car off there in the dirt. What was all that going on?
I think Pikey Mikey just got a bit spooked by the presence of Mento 89 there.
There's Pikey Mikey now in a Chevrolet. Looking alright though towards the moment. He's running in 6th. He's running in 2nd place at the moment in the GT class. Behind RS 96, the German driver, fastest lap of the race this time around by Pikey Mikey.
Yes, it appears purple just because we're on board with him, so it's not actually.
It's our fastest lap at the moment.
I didn't actually get to see who's got the fastest lap at the moment, but certainly Pikey Mikey is setting good pace and doesn't look to be letting RS drive away too much.
Well, and going back then to what we were just talking about, it seems that it seems very much that if you're kind of racing with a wheel, you're going to find it easier to steer around the circuit than possibly the controller, because it's hard to kind of get the movement in your hands there fast enough to take these fast corners and brake in time.
Yes, it's well established among the Gran Turismo community that wheel drivers tend to be a little bit faster, and we're getting confirmation from the core race control at the moment that Immortal Pilot has the fastest time in LMP at this point, and RS96 is the fastest GT runner.
There's Mento just lapping David B again then through that kind of fast, long right-hander, and this is another hard one to take, I found, because you don't know where the exit is, so you don't know when to kind of accelerate hard from the corner.
Yeah, that corner's okay, it's just the exit, sometimes you can perhaps go on the power slightly too early and go a bit wide, a bit like Pikey Mikey did 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Here's Armada then, he's in that nice red coloured car and running there in 9th position, trying to close up off David B. He's got Duke Adam there behind him that he's looking it pretty comfortable. Really, he's not under that much pressure from Duke at the moment.
Yes, Duke was ahead of him until recently, so I don't know if there's been a pit stop or a mistake. I know we've seen Duke Adam go off into the desert on a couple of occasions now.
Well, they go down this long turn number 9 section and across the line again. Then Armada now going on to his 41st lap. No, 39th lap because he had the 2 for the warm-up lap. And Armada in the pit lane now for his pit stop. Forbo is also in the pit lane, as you said, pulled up in that one. We look now with Duke, who will retake the position from Armada, but that will only be until he pits.
Yes, it seems that the two are on differing pit strategies and retaking each other when the other person pits, so they keep undercutting each other at the moment.
Here is Duke Adam now as he comes up Alan towards turn number 3. He's got this long section here. It's kind of this 3, 4 and 5, this kind of tight section of the track on a circuit that's mainly flat out throughout.
Yes, I've always found that this section of the track kind of breaks the flow a tiny bit, especially as turn 4 always feels like it's a bit strange on the camber. I've always found it to be a very hard corner to get round in one piece.
Well, they come again here then. Bit of a wheel onto the dirt there then for Duke Adam, and that kind of unsettled the car a bit, but it's closing in at a staggering rate onto the back of David B, the Australian driver. Hold on a curve there onto the dirt. Can he hold it? No, he can't. Off goes Duke Adam, round and round like a record baby, and back onto the track he goes now.
Yeah, spinning round, smoke everywhere. Terrible, terrible mistake. It's just as he was closing up to David B 165 as well.
Well, he tried to get the line on David B, and hopefully that shouldn't be too long until Duke can find a way right back onto the back of David B. How far is Armada behind now after that pit stop?
I couldn't honestly tell you, but I can tell you one thing. There was a brilliant example there of breaking your rhythm. He got a little bit onto the dirt as he exited the last corner and then made another mistake going into the first corner. Sometimes it can just disrupt your train of thought a little bit.
What's going on here then? Here comes Mento on the back of TOL Immortal now. These two are ready for a bit of side-by-side action. However, this is TOL Immortal lapping Mento over. But yeah. Mento doesn't want to sit here and take it in.
No, I don't blame Mento really. It's still early in the race. There's no point backing off too much when you've got an hour and 5 minutes left.
Well, and they come then now towards his turn number 3 section. Mento, of course, in that Bentley 7, winner of the 2003 Le Mans 24 Hours, and more recently the Peugeot having sort of success when it comes to the real life Le Mans. However, Audi has been pipping them of late. However, hopefully the Peugeot can change that in the upcoming season and challenge for that Le Mans 24-hour crown.
Peugeot haven't raced at Le Mans in almost 3 years.
Say that again, I couldn't hear you over the car noise, mate.
Peugeot have not raced at Le Mans in almost 3 years. They abandoned their program in 2011.
They've changed it to Toyota now, haven't they?
Yeah, well, Toyota are a completely different entity, but they kind of took over Peugeot's role as the ones who are going to finally try and defeat Audi, who just never...
Mento's gone. Yeah. Turn number 3. Wheel onto the dirt, and round he goes. Lin Chin will go through as well to put on another lap on him. Where's Red Bull Rider? Can he capitalise on that mistake, Adam?
I'm not sure he can, but Mento89, following his pit stop, did go a lap down on Immortal and was obviously trying very hard to get the lap back and
back on the lead lap.
Yeah, as a consequence of that, he just got the wrong line coming out of turn 3 and had a little bit of a spin. So
off again. There's Duke Adam. He likes the dirt, don't he? He likes putting a foot outside the track.
There's
and
Armada.
Now comes Armada. Easy as you like it. There he goes, and Duke has he still got to make his pit stop?
Yes, he will not have pitted again yet. His tyres are just kind of halfway through their life.
So Adam, unfortunately, here running in stone dead last at the moment then, because Fort Bo's not at the moment competing. So Duke Adam 7 laps down on the leader. Arda set fastest lap there, 1 minute, and then Duke Adam they're going faster again. Then so a lot of personal best being set during these laps. We've got an hour and 2 minutes left of the race. Ninchin out in front from TRL Immortal. Has Immortal pitted? It seems he has, because he's now 2 seconds behind Ninchin. There's Duke Adam, he's pulled off. Is that his race over, Adam?
Might well be. I don't think he's parked there, because if you look onto the tarmac, there's a fair bit of tyre marking going on there. Maybe that was from his earlier spin, not quite sure.
Off he goes again, and Duke Adam is not having the best of time this afternoon in the sunshine at Willow Springs, is he?
No, I think he's pulling up there. I think that's the end of his race. Might just
He's
park
had
it
enough
there.
already.
Park it there in the desert and be done with it, I think.
Away from the track to not cause problems for anyone else, and off he goes. Sorted for Duke Adam as he retires from the race alongside Fort Bo. So Ninchin still leading this race. TRL Immortal there in second. Mento third, Rebel Rider fourth, RS 96 there in fifth, Pikey Mikey sixth, Nico Demers seventh, David B ninth, and then Armada here in ninth, battling with David B.
Yes, Armada looks as if he has got the pace on David, and indeed David doesn't look to be... Oh no, I think he's taking the defensive line here.
No,
but
Armada's easy through.
yeah, Armada, I think David wasn't quite putting up as much of his fight as he could there. I think he knows that ultimately Armada does have very good pace in that McLaren.
Well, we're hearing here then from Core Race Control, Adam, that Duke Adam will be investigated after the race for a tyre on the track because you should retire in the pit lane.
Yes, that has been happening in some of the earlier rounds of the series, so that's understandable.
Well, it should be kind of one rule for all, and it should kind of be this consistent throughout the season.
Yes, that will be the case, because it has happened on several occasions, especially in the night at Daytona. You had a set of headlights just sitting there as one of the drivers retired, and it was very distracting for all the drivers involved.
Now then, we're halfway through the race then, an hour or so through the race, and we've still got more laps in the second half of the race than in the first half of the race.
Yes, I think we'll be going to the full distance if we are not quite finished with the laps at the 2 hour point, so we'll go to
So
116
2 hours of there
laps.
as sort of a guideline for the rest of the race.
Yes.
Well, until Immortal comes again and he's passed Armada to put on another lap on, and in terms of these investigating, it is something we're hearing that Core are trying to clean up on and to knuckle down on.
Now, I don't know if you noticed there, but as Immortal went into the pit lane, we also had RS96, the GT leader, creating his own little Willow Springs rallycross circuit on the edge of the last corner.
Not having the best of times there. How is his pit stop going to go, however? Is that TRL Immortal or was that Mento in the pits?
I believe that was Immortal. I didn't actually
That
quite
was
get
Immortal
to see.
because Ninchin's gone through into the lead.
Yes, and if you notice, Ninchin's actually further ahead of Immortal than he has been after the previous pit stops.
Yes, but what we've seen in the past with TRL Immortal on the outlap pace manages to just close in on Ninchin. So how long will this advantage last? If I was Ninchin, come in now and try and get the jump.
Maybe
Well,
so,
not the
maybe
jump,
so.
but get closer.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Ninchin figures out he should do here, because obviously everyone has a different way of dealing with battles, and it'd be interesting to see if he considers your method of doing things. I think it would work out well if he were to pit now. He wouldn't come out ahead of Immortal, but maybe it would just be the best thing to do.
And he comes turn number 9 now, making sure you don't want to run wide on that exit. Ninchin continuing, however, and he's now got Nico in front of him, which could cause him some issues if they head on now to lap 55 out of the 116 or 114 even we'll see in this race.
Yes, it looks as if Nin's tyres are quite fresh, so I'd hazard a guess that he's already made a pit stop recently, and therefore he won't want to make another one. So if he can keep on track and at a decent pace, he could take the lead from Immortal here.
Exactly, and then I would pit sort of when Immortal pits to try and cover his moves. So either pit a lap later or come into the pits when he seems as if he's coming in.
Yes, I think many of the drivers do basically go as far as they can on the tyres anyway. But if he can stretch out another couple of laps out of it without losing too much time, it might be worth doing. It's worth noting, however, that TRL Immortal does already seem to be closing back in on him.
Yes, he has closed the gap very slightly to turn number 8 again and as they head on to turn number 9. Do you reckon he can push on and try and get this position back?
Oh, he definitely can. I don't know if he's actually trying to push 100% at this point, but he's definitely got the pace to do so if he wants to.
We're hearing again then from core headquarters that you'll get some more tyre left at the end of the race if you leave the car out as long as possible.
Yes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Past is that RS there in the 4GT? Yes, it is. So he's leaders back to them by Ninchin, and down the hill he goes again then through this turn number 5 and up now towards 6.
Yes, he seems to be building a very nice flow at the moment. His times appear to be rather consistent in the 101 range, which is always good to see. And it seems he hasn't lost any time to Immortal in the last lap either, so clearly his pace isn't only consistent but quick.
Well, they go here then again towards the start-finish line. Ninchin trying to build a gap on TRL Immortal, but it will be interesting to see kind of what happens.
Indeed it shall be. As you see there, Armada just seems to be going wide, just to allow Ninchin through.
Well, they go here then. Ninchin still kind of holding the gap. He wouldn't want to lose too much time to TRL Immortal to see if he can, if TRL Immortal can try and capitalise on Ninchin's mistakes. But if Ninchin holds out long enough, he should be able to keep up the pace and stay out in front.
Indeed, Ninchin just almost at the 57 lap, well he is on the 57 lap mark, about to start his 58th lap of the race. And Immortal is still about maybe 3 or 4 seconds behind, so he's not gaining any more time as we see Hikey Mikey there just coming out of the pits. He's still second in class, so clearly he has quite a gap to Nico Demis at the moment. And
Ninchin currently leading, Immortal in second, Mento 89 in third, and I believe, Adam, we can now hear live from Mento 89.
Yes, apparently so. Mento, are you there?
I am indeed.
Indeed you are. So, at this point in the race, what were you trying to do? Were you still trying to keep up with Ninchin and Immortal, or were you just trying to stay in third place for tomorrow's race in Glenelg's 81?
My main aim for the race was make sure to keep the car on the lead lap. Try and stay just that 1 minute or so behind Immortal, because it was impossible to keep pace with the Peugeots, but you know, it was basically just run your own race. Try not to get involved in anything and just really set up Glenn for the next race and see if we could actually put him in a good position where he could just push from the start and obviously work on the law of averages.
Yes, of course, it's all very well having a good consistent teammate if you can't give him a decent slot for the second race.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hands down, the Peugeot drivers are something else. I mean, there is a reason why, you know, they are who they are. They put tons of practice in. They're always there. They're always on pace, and you know, they've got really good machinery underneath them. And I mean, this is the first race that we're in the Bentley, and you know, we were getting used to new machinery. And I think we were about 5,000 laps of test, or 5,000 miles of testing behind Nin in the Peugeot. So
So Nin's putting in the effort to go the extra mile.
Yeah, I mean he was testing well before the season started, and obviously we were developing the Audi, but then we're now learning completely new machinery, and it's a lot more difficult to learn and be quick in something straight away. I mean we're sort of looking for a good finish in this race, but then we're really focusing on the rest of the season and looking to push our way back up into a title contention.
Yeah, so you still feel that's possible at this point in the season to obviously have an advantage over IMP Racing, that's TRL Immortal and I Was Here, because this is their first round, whereas you guys have been scoring in the previous 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very difficult season this season. We're not fighting for ourselves. We're having to do this as a team, and Nin obviously has Zovo as a teammate, and Zovo he drove all the way through season 2, and of course he was in LMP, so he's used to this multi-class racing. He's used to racing this hard, and
yeah,
it's one of those things. I mean, Glenn is completely new to multi-class racing. He's come up from sprint racing and that sort of thing, so he's got the pace, but it's learning how to get through the traffic and learning how to be patient and not over push.
Indeed.
Again, it's learning the law of averages with endurance racing.
Yeah, and of course there's also, even for the experienced campaigners, there is that added dynamic of not just racing for yourself, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is definitely it's the second time that I've ever had to race with a team, and obviously the first being the Nürburgring 24 Hours.
Yeah, the VLN series before it.
Yeah, and it's tough. If you have a bad race, everyone has a bad race. And
yeah.
It's a lot of added pressure. But at the same time, you could have a bad race, but then your teammate could have an absolutely fantastic race, and you equal each other out, and you still could get a very good result from that.
Indeed you could, and it appears now that on track we have TRL Immortal, who is closer to Ninchin.
He's right with him.
Yes, Ninchin is now has lost a fair bit of his gap to Immortal. Immortal looks like he is trying to close that gap back up once more to take his position back.
Oh, and they've come there now. He's coming through this long turn 9 section of the circuit. TRL Immortal, right on the back of Ninchin, right where he does before. He always likes to get there or thereabouts, and he's right there again.
Yes, and that's all we'll have from Mento now. Mento will thank you to him for being a part of the broadcast today.
Yeah, thank you for Mento for joining us in the commentary box. Mento currently running in 3rd position in this race. Ninchin currently leading the way. This battle then for the lead here then on lap 64 out of the 114 scheduled for this race. Ninchin there currently TRL Immortal, what, about half a second now?
It must be a very, very small gap there between the two of them.
Hang on. Red Bull Rider there in 4th as well. RS 96 5th. Pikey Mikey 6th. Pikey Mikey still there in 2nd position. And TRL Immortal lining up a move now on Ninchin. Round turn number 8. Can they get it through on turn number 9? Ninchin breaking a later and holding off TRL Immortal once again. Immortal
looks like he has a good run here if he can get the slipstream. I think he might be able to make a move going into the first corner here, Luke.
Is he going to do it? Dead of a dive bomb into the Castrol corner, turn number 1. Ninchin on the outside, holds the line. TRL Immortal can't quite capitalise. Can he find a line through turn number 2? Not quite yet. Ninchin holding the inside.
Not quite enough, but brilliant racing between these two Peugeot drivers. You can clearly see that despite they are on different teams, they clearly respect each other. And Ninchin has seemingly got a little more on TRL this lap, but this is the section of the track where Immortal closes up once more. So can he make a move possibly going through this corner or maybe even going into turn 1. He's closing up on the back.
He looks like he's down to the inside and he's through. Can he make it stick to turn number 9, however? Ninchin trying to get the undercut again, not quite until Immortal got a position, but Ninchin's right there on him, right in the background. He has to move on the inside, can't quite smooth the outside, can't quite do it either. Is he going to hold up position till Immortal sticks it to the inside, and that's it, sorted. Position now, not quite, Ninchin at the inside, side by side through turn number 1, Ninchin on the outside through turn number 2. Theo Immortal can't quite stick his nose there. Great racing here from Willow Springs.
Brilliant stuff there from both of them. Absolutely excellent driving.
Well, and it's a trust as well, because if Ninchin had moved over, or Theo Immortal had moved over, that could have become a pretty nasty incident indeed.
It definitely could have done, but both of these boys know their racecraft.
Well, and they come again then, dropping now into turn number 5, through this jump at turn number 6, and then down this brow. Theo Immortal running it once again as they head into turn number 8. He'll have the inside line for this fast sweeper. But where's Ninchin? Can he again do what he did last time and line a move up going into turn number 1? Not this time. Theo Immortal pulled out a bit of a gap this time.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And back to we're talking about the trust with the drivers here. Of course, it's not only people you're battling with overall and on track, it's also the secondary class. Be it whether you're a GTE driver or an LMP driver, you have to trust those from the other category not to punt you off or block you excessively. And clearly all the drivers on track today do trust each other. So, great stuff from everyone involved.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be knocked off by your teammate, and that's the worst thing that could happen to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. But luckily enough, the teammates don't actually have to race each other, so we shouldn't have any of those red-faced Senna Prost moments where both drivers take each other out on the first turn.
Well, Rebel Rider setting some personal best there as well. So is Nico Demis down there. And has your sound stopped on your live stream?
Yeah, yes, at the moment it has, but I'm sure that everyone
Technical issue going on here.
In the core technical box there will be hopefully trying to rectify the situation, so hopefully we get our sound back.
Theo Immortal still out in front here then at the moment. Cars strewn at the moment then. There's a car off there at turn number 2. That is Duke Adam, however. We've got some cars still in the pit lane going through their tyre sequences. We're still, 43 minutes left of this race?
Indeed we do. And Immortal kicking up a bit of dust there going through that corner, so clearly on the ragged edge.
He's still pushing to try and defend from Ninchin, who is trying to close that gap back up again.
Yes, and Immortal should be looking to extend that gap once more.
Right, they come again here then through this turn number 4, and they're closing up Codemus, which moves out the way then pretty sensibly. That's a car straight into the pit lane.
Yeah, that was Ninchin, so Ninchin's making another pit stop. Keeping in sequence then with what we'd expect. TRL Immortal.
Yeah, and then TRL Immortal then come in the pits again pretty shortly, do you reckon?
Within the next 3 or 4 laps, by the looks of his tyres, and of course we're well accustomed now, Ninchin usually pits about 2 or 3 laps before Immortal does, so right around target time for Immortal to duck in sooner rather than later.
Right, they go here then, this turn 4 section, and it kind of, this bump here then, very hard to kind of get wrong.
It's usually not too bad in high aero cars that are set up correctly. It's definitely, as I said earlier in the broadcast, it's quite difficult with cars that don't have any aero, but fortunately the WEC cars are well catered for in the aerodynamic compartment as TRL Immortal makes his stop.
Yes, he does. And it'll be interesting to see how close Ninchin can get this time around.
As a rule, Ninchin has been overtaking Immortal during the pit stop phase. It'll be interesting to see. He's just made it out ahead of him once more.
Yes, he has. And this Ninchin in front this time, and can't tell Immortal. He usually catches within about 1 or 2 laps, and then they're right there again, close up to each other and having a battle, which usually ends up with TOL Immortal winning the race.
Well, this is his first time, so I don't know how you can quite say that, but it could well lead to a race victory for him.
Bit of a mistake there. Ninchin still got that gap there, and it's about a second now then between those two cars. TOL Immortal still trying to close in, however, on Ninchin, and it will be interesting to see if kind of how far the Ninchin can stay ahead this time.
Yeah, once again, Immortal looks to be gaining on Ninchin again following his pit stop, so they're both on freshish tyres as well, so they should be evenly matched, but Immortal does seem to be able to get straight back into his rhythm after a pit stop, which is a good talent to have in endurance racing.
Straight back up to it and straight back going, and TOL Immortal now right with Ninchin again.
Indeed he is, and of course this is the penultimate round of the US leg of the series. We head to Laguna Seca, and then we're off across the ocean to Brands Hatch Race Circuit in Kent, so quite a similar circuit actually in many ways, both quite fast-paced and traditional old-school circuits coming up on the calendar.
Well, yeah, when Brands Hatch is a fast circuit, we're going to the Gran circuit, of course, so it's a very kind of tight circuit as well, sort of like this one really, quite tight action, lots going on, and that could cause some difficulties running wide there.
Here comes Immortal, he's right on the back of Ninchin.
To the outside, Ninchin giving him a bit of a squeeze this time, but they're right with each other again, and we're still just under 40 minutes to go in this race. It'll be interesting to see how far these guys can go tail and together like this.
Yes, and of course one of the main factors in an LMP battle like this is getting around GT traffic, and one thing we've heard from the paddock lately is that there's going to be a new GTE team arriving. That'll be Professor Duck Racing, which comprise of the Profs from Sweden and Plucks the Duck of the UK, two very fast drivers in their own right, which will not only provide trouble for the LMP drivers, but a new adversary in GTE, as Immortal looks like he's going to make the move, and he does.
He's done it, contact with Ninchin, and Ninchin's off.
Oh, dear.
Bit of a contact there, TOL Immortal, giving Ninchin a bit of a squeeze. And what happened there, TOL Immortal? He's just giving the place back to Ninchin to avoid going into penalties and ending up in the race steward's office with Matthew Story looking down here.
Indeed, it's definitely a good move to just, in that situation, if you're not sure that you've made a legal pass, it's always good to just let the position, give it back to the person you made contact with, so you don't end up with a 30-second or even 60-second penalty. It's much easier than losing.
Much easier to just give the place back and then try again next time round.
Certainly, and it also increases, the trust among the other drivers. If they know that, if he does make a mistake and takes me off, I will get the position back. That's always a nice thing.
Ninchin again here then, slow off the exit of that corner, and here comes TOL Immortal lining up the move down the inside. Surely he's got him this time. Hopefully he won't squeeze him, and yes, TOL Immortal has got the place done this time around.
Yeah, and this time it looks like he's going to make it stick as well. He doesn't have any reason to give the position back either, so clear pass, and now it's just time for him to try and build the gap back to Ninchin.
Round they come again here then, TOL Immortal trying to pull away a bit now then by Ninchin, and then he seems then that they've got to wait until sort of the last round of pit stops. And how long do you think that would be until we get to the last round of pit stops?
I hazard a guess that that'll come around the last 15 laps or so of the race. So that'll be very interesting to see if Ninchin ends up ahead of Immortal following the German driver's pit stop, and whether he can then hold the German driver until the end of the race.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how long we can see this battle going on for then. TOL Immortal leading a race, Ninchin second, Mento 89 there in third, Red Bull Rider 24th, RS 96 fifth, Pikey Mikey sixth, Demo seventh, and Armada there in eighth.
Yep, and David is the last of the current running GT runners in ninth position, because both Duke Adam 46 and Fort Bow have stopped driving.
Yes, so a couple couple of disasters there for some of the drivers, and still got then a long way to go in this one. And so when you retire from a race, will that then put you straight back to the back of the grid for your teammate for the race after?
Yes, in theory, it basically ends your team's day because, of course, you still have another 2-hour race tomorrow, which adds to your total time. So from tomorrow, say Fort Beau's teammate FRT Legacy will be about 70, 80 laps down. So it kind of compromises the whole weekend for your teammate and yourself.
Oh, what? So you start wherever you retire?
Yes, you don't get laps back for free.
Yeah, well, that's not good then. If you're kind of racing next, it's not going to really help your weekend out, really, is it?
No, definitely not. As we've mentioned throughout the broadcast, it's a huge team effort, endurance racing, especially in this format. And you've got to be reliable. You've got to be a leg for your teammate to stand on.
Well, and the championship itself, then we had, as you said, then to the Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca next. We then head over to Brands Hatch, and then we got that long European leg, and then we head over to the Japanese leg, I believe, as well.
Yeah, well, it's the Asian leg because we have some rounds in Japan, and then of course we have the season finale in Australia, the Bathurst circuit, which will be an absolutely excellent round. Can you imagine the prototype cars on that track?
Oh well, that would just be kind of a manic race, wouldn't it?
Yes, and of course it'll all be about timing as well, because if you get caught behind a GTE car as an LMP driver on the mountain, there aren't many places where you'll be able to get past cleanly.
Exactly, so it's going to be pretty interesting in when we get there. However, we're hearing that down in the paddock, Fort Beau's teammate has expressed rather high emotion at seeing Fort Beau pulling over, so he's obviously not very happy with that taking place.
Yes, because of course, obviously FRT Legacy 97 can still run tomorrow, but what's the point? Because, look at that.
So laps behind.
RS 96.
I can't see, my screen's frozen.
Okay, well, RS96 has had a spin there, right in front of Red Bull Rider 20, almost collected the American driver there. Fortunately, they've both managed to carry on without any damage or contact.
Good to hear that they're all okay then at the moment.
Yes, indeed. RS is just kind of regaining himself. He hasn't... he's obviously on dirty tyres following an off, but he has managed to stay on track and is now getting the tyres back up to a good heat and cleaning the tyres, and he's back on his way well and truly now, so I'm sure that won't be too much of a concern. He's still leading his class as well.
Well, and that's good to hear then for RS, that he can manage to kind of recover here then. I'm getting the coverage back here then, and as you said then, RS recovering and looking on form at the moment.
Yes, he's still got quite a large gap to Pikey Mikey here in second position in his Corvettes. So it looks as if, for now at least, it's a pretty clear lead for RS, although a slight mistake, as we've mentioned many times, one clip of the curb or a wheel on the dirt and he can be round and he can lose 15 seconds, even possibly get damage if he skids too far. Nico Demus still in third position at the moment. He's actually setting quicker times than Pikey Mikey at this stage, so perhaps Pikey's on older tyres, but maybe Nico Demus could challenge for second position before this race is through. And he has TRL Immortal now coming up to him, does Nico Demus, so this could well be a... No, they were going to be in the tight section there, turn 4, which is always very difficult to get an LMP car around a GTE section, but clearly through there, TRL Immortal, and Ninchin does not seem to be anywhere too close to him, so at the moment Immortal looks like a favourite to win this race, but if Nin can find some pace, I'm sure he will, and he will try and catch up.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see if Nin can get right onto the back of TRL Immortal again, and probably in the next round of stops that will be sort of possible to happen.
Oh yes, it's always possible at the moment, and it does seem that Ninchin has the ability to have a good couple of laps following the pit stop and take TRL Immortal once more. It's interesting how the pit strategy is working into this strategical battle that we have on track at the moment.
Well, they come here again then, TRL Immortal, looking pretty good at the moment, and hopefully it'll be interesting to see whether we can hold on to this.
Yes, and now we have the sound. The sound is back. Thankfully, the workers in the core technical department have got the sound working once more, so we can hear the brilliant variety of engines and cylinders working their way around the circuit again.
Well, yeah, and we can really hear then the energy that these cars can go through.
Yes, and RS had another off there. Has he managed to...
That's right in front of one of the Peugeots as well.
Yes, fortunately, somehow he's still ahead of Pikey Mikey, so that just shows he's been consistent and fast in the first half of this race, and
managing to have the mistakes but still new.
yes, but he's got to make sure he doesn't make too many, because that lead can't last forever.
Exactly, the more mistakes you make, the closer they're going to get.
Yeah, you can only lose so much time before it becomes a loss of position and a potential victory being taken away from you, and definitely RS and his teammate Widfo will not want to lose this comfortable lead they currently have.
Well, and here then, I'm looking at some of the timing screens taking place here then, and it'll, as you say, then be interesting to see this action develop over time then. We've got Duke Adam there in 10th position, as you said. RS there in 5th position. The gap now between him and Pikey Mikey, it's only a lap difference.
Yes, there's definitely not that much difference between the two drivers. In fact, it's quite a bit less than a lap, I think. It's just the time screen resetting when they get to start and finish line. And here's Ninchin again. He's still second and doesn't seem to have TRL Immortal anywhere near him, so he really needs to get the foot down to try and make the overlap again on the next set of pit stops.
We've got a car in the pit lane, I believe. Is that Immortal? No, it's not. We've got a car in the pit lane.
I think that's still Fortbo, who's just parked there.
Yes, he retired earlier on. And is that Immortal coming out of turn number 2 now?
Yes, Immortal is about 5 or 6, maybe 7 seconds up the road from Ninchin at this point.
Oh, well, turn to the long corner, and to go off there is a pretty bad thing to happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's that's never a good thing. And Ninchin still going around the track at a decent speed. He's still in the
This is Ninchin then going through this turn 9 section, this right-hander corner. He's got Armada's out in front of him. Armada's actually gone off. Where's he going? Where's he heading off to?
Looks as if he just caught himself on the exit of the last corner and then spun onto the inside of the corner, so it must have been quite a big moment for the McLaren driver there.
Fancied a trip into the gravel trap, did he? Right, Ninchin's in the pit lane. TRL Immortal there behind him. Is TRL Immortal... Oh no, Immortal is still leading, and now he's just going to make his gap even bigger.
Yes, he's due to make a pit stop anytime soon now that Ninchin has made his stop. That usually seems to be how it's been working so far throughout the race.
Round turn number 9 they come. He's past Nico. He's now got Pikey Mikey there in front of him. TRL Immortal staying out and going round again. Immortal easily past Pikey Mikey without any serious issues, however, as they go into the Castro corner again here for the 86th lap.
Yep, Immortal seems to be just staying out for maybe 1 or 2 more laps, making the tyres last as long as possible, but he'll know when they've dropped off too much to carry on.
Now then, we have then got some exciting news, haven't we, Adam?
Do we?
We do indeed. We've got, and the part 2 race tomorrow, we've got interview, hopefully.
Yes, it seems we might have an interview. More on that later on.
Hopefully, but we'll be bringing out you more information on that as it comes. Also, across the finish line again then to start the 87th lap of the race. In fact, he's now back at turn number 9 and about to start the 87th lap of the race. Yep, in the pits.
He's pitting, so will he come out ahead or behind Ninchin? This is the big question.
Where's Ninchin? He's coming into turn 8 now. There he goes. He's coming into turn 8 now, and Immortal's still in the pit lane. but Immortal just seemed to be immortal during that stint. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes out ahead of Ninchin this time.
Yes, by name and by nature, but will he keep the lead?
Well, and they come again here. Immortal even the pit lane now, then we can see it from our commentary box window. And Ninchin just coming down the pit straight. Immortal's done him.
Yes, finally, Immortal's managed to make that lead stick after a pit stop. That's a big development in this race.
Could be the last set of stops as well then. So it's important to have that done now. Well, only 21 minutes now remaining in this race. Here's TOL. Oh, I thought that was the battle for the lead then. It's Immortal just lapping David B again.
Yes, I think what we're going to have now is we're going to have a very interesting mix of Ninchin trying to catch back up to Immortal, but at the same time they're going to want to save their tyres if this is going to be their last stop.
Yes, they don't want to push too hard and lose it. The gap between Immortal and in 2.2 seconds, as we can see there. Immortal actually 2 tenths faster on that lap than Ninchin, so the new tyre compound's working well for him.
Yes, indeed, the new tyres just seem to give you that nice little extra edge. It's always a bit of relief after a pit stop when you've just got the new tyres on, warm them back up, have the full potential of the car back underneath you. It's a truly good feeling for the drivers.
But you want to save the tyres just in case this is the last round of stops. You don't want to reach the cliff, as it's known, with a handful of left and then just drop down the field.
Oh no, definitely not. Have worn out tyres with 3 laps to go with someone of Ninchin's calibre behind you, in Immortal's case, would be a very dangerous thing.
And they come again here, through turn number 8 and into turn number 9 now. Ninchin trying to close the gap on Immortal Pilot, but he's not quite getting it then. Car in the pit lane, who's that? Is that still the Fortbo car parked up?
I believe so, yes.
It's quite confusing there, seeing that on the driver tracker. We are seeing though then with the tyres that it's definitely the left-hand side, front left tyre, which is getting most of the damage around the circuit.
Yes, it's a left-hand course, of course. You have the long sweeping turn 2 and the last 2 corners as well, so there must be a lot of load going through those rear tyres there. I mean those left tyres, apologies.
Yeah. Here is Mento now, and is picking his way through traffic still running in 3rd position, so a good solid podium position for him.
Yes, and of course this only aids the team's chances tomorrow. Glenn Howes is a very capable driver, and he'll be taking the fight to Zovomir Van Basten, who is Ninchin's teammate, and Iwazir, who's Immortal's teammate, as well as Choza32, who will be taking over the Pescarolo from Red Bull Rider 20.
Yeah, here comes Choza time.
Yes, of course. He's become quite a fan favourite because he has a spectacular driving style.
Well, when they come here again then, we've got some personal best being set there by Nico Demis as well then, so he's hopefully trying to work his way up the field there. Fastest lap of the race so far in this race has been set by Nico Demis, 1 minute, oh no, fastest lap now, set by Red Bull Rider.
Yes, the purple sectors aren't an indication of the fastest lap of the entire race, it's just the fastest lap by that driver. It's a bit different from the real life timing and scoring systems on Gran Turismo.
Yes, we're going to have to get used to that as the season progresses.
Yes, indeed we are, and Ninchin's still running in 2nd. He doesn't seem to have lost too much time to Immortal at this moment, but he hasn't gained anything either. That's critical.
So how do they work it then tomorrow? Because the guys who are on a lap down in the they will continue running a lap down in tomorrow's race. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah.
Yes, all the cars will start at the same time, but they will effectively be a lap down because they have to make up the time that their teammate lost yesterday. So it's still effectively.
So it's going to be quite confusing in terms of the timing system, because when 1 minute we're looking at a car who's leading a race, they could actually be down in 3rd place because they're a lap behind.
It's usually quite easy to keep up with it when the race actually gets going and you're in the flow of things, so it shouldn't be too complicated.
Well, they come again then. Here is OX 96. So does that mean then that Ninchin will have to lose 3 seconds or so on the first lap to make up that room, or will the cars on the lead lap to start from fresh again?
No, his teammate tomorrow, Zovomir Van Basten, will just have about at this stage 5 or 6 seconds to beat his Immortal's teammate by. So you'll work it out on the day. We're receiving some information from the one of our staff in the paddock regarding Mento 89's Bentley. Apparently the smoke that comes from the Bentley around some of the corners is just chassis stiffness and damping, which was a setup mistake from the Bentley team. So not quite a perfect car on their first use of the Bentley in WEC racing.
Yeah, not having the best of times out there. Still running a good third place, and hopefully their form can continue throughout this season.
Yes, the Bentley's a very good setup. It's been a great car for a very long time in WEC racing, and it's going to reward anyone who can drive it to its full extent.
Then I come again, it's Nico Demers. He's currently running in 7th place. He's now 3rd, behind Pikey Mikey and RS 96.
Yes, he's been holding station there for quite a while now, as we've seen Armada's been making a couple of mistakes during the race. It seems he's quite a way off Pikey Mikey at the moment, so I don't think he's got much chance of getting into 2nd in GTE, but of course anything is possible, so we must keep an eye on the GTE battle just in case.
Here is Armada, they're running in 4th position. He is a bit way behind now, the car of Pikey Mikey. Are we right on board now then? Straight out with Tyrrell Immortal, who has some traffic to deal with.
Yes, and it's also worth noting in the GTE battle terms that Nico Demus is actually racing the BMW for the last time. Next time out in Laguna Seca, it's been confirmed that Canary Motorsport will be switching to a Corvette. So they'll be running the traditional yellow Corvette colours, so that should be a fan favourite among the GTE followers in WEC.
Yes, but losing that BMW, will that be kind of a problem for Nico Demus while he gets that Corvette right back up to speed?
Nico seems to be very good at setting up cars, so I have no doubt that he'll have the Corvette right on pace immediately next time out at Laguna.
Well, they come then. This is Nico, and I know this is now Nin Shin picking his way through the traffic. There's David B and there's RS 96 as well here then, and RS 96 is now the GTE leader.
Yeah, RS 96 got a bit loose there on the exit of a corner 2 or 3 turns ago. He had a little bit of a meet up with the gravel, but didn't cost him much time, so he was fortunate to get away with that one.
Well, the speed then we see going through that turn 8 is just staggering. You see these GTE cars just coming from nowhere as the LMP cars flash past them.
Yes, the LMP cars definitely use their aerodynamics to the full advantage, and of course they're a bit lighter than the GTE cars as well, so it all plays a role in them being so quick around these corners.
Here's TOL Immortal coming up and towards turn number 1, isn't he? As well, close behind him. He's not lost too much room, and Alan Ninchi trying to close the gap he makes tomorrow.
I'd estimate that he's about 8, maybe 10 seconds behind at this stage, so he's definitely lost a bit since that pit stop, but he's not falling too far back. No, it's definitely something that his teammate Zovimir Van Basten can work on and possibly become victorious tomorrow.
Well then, you say then that Immortal is in his first race of this WEC season. So who was I was his teammate when Immortal was not racing?
I was here is actually making his WEC LMP debut. He was in GT the last 2 rounds with Duke Adam 46 under the team name Class Clowns Racing. So he's decided to move up to LMP. He offered, there is Duke Adam 46.
There is Duke Adam, having a bit of an off-road excursion.
Seems to have come back on track after a very long time pulling over. But no, he decided to move up to LMP. He did, I believe, offer Duke Adam a chance to move up to LMP with him, but he declined that. So he's moved up.
Why do you think he did that?
I don't know. Some drivers just feel easier in the GTE cars. I know quite a few people just perhaps don't like the way LMP cars are that much quicker, and also of course it's different in the traffic, whereas you're usually being overtaken, you have to do the overtaking, and perhaps he wasn't comfortable with that either. It's hard to know.
Duke is now kicking himself because he could be in top now in first place leading the pack.
Well, maybe not, because Him and Immortal are two very different drivers, and Immortal is renowned throughout GT Planet for being an extremely quick driver in anything he steps into. And maybe Duke Adam didn't feel he could live up to that kind of performance. He didn't want to let down his teammate.
So why do you think then that Immortal decided to switch to the core program?
We don't know, but obviously he's looked into the action and seen for statistics, for example, 15,000 live stream viewers during N24 earlier this year, and he's obviously interested in becoming a part of the package, and I'm sure we'll see more of the top-class drivers on GT Planet joining this already very good grid that we currently have in WEC racing.
Ninchin is in the pit lane then, so he is going then for another round of stops. He's done 15 laps on that tyre, and it shows then that T1 Immortal could follow suit pretty quickly as well then, with only 7 minutes left of the race.
He might well do. I think we're going to go all the way to 116 laps, but yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if Immortal would go all the way on these tyres. Judging by the tyre gauge down the bottom left of the screen, I don't think the tyres have it in them, and indeed he has pitted.
Immortal into the pits then. Can he hold out the lead this time? Or will Ninchin just produce a stunning outlap and close the gap once more?
I'd be very surprised if that lead from Immortal was lost, because he was at least 10 seconds ahead before the pit stop by Ninchin. I'd be very, very surprised to see that lead lost.
Right,
In fact,
we're looking
I think
then.
he's already exited the pits there.
Well, that's a cracking. So I know he is now exiting the pit lane. So that gap is still a pretty substantial gap there.
Oh yes, it looks like Immortal, pending a clean run until the end of the race, has the lead in LMP sorted out, and it's got to be good for I Was Here Tomorrow in the second race.
Well, he gets that strong advantage, and it's only... Oh, Mento's gone off there, turn number 2, lights up the rear tyres, and off he goes right in front of Duke Adam.
Yeah,
Who also goes off.
I think Duke Adam was just letting Mento back through there. Obviously, he's pretty much out of the running. He's probably a good 50-60 laps down. I think he's just running for the sheer fun of it for the last few laps of this race.
Well, when they come again here, then we've got, as you said, about 5 minutes to go in this one, but the race will run for another 12, 13 laps in this one until that race distance is finished. But going on to what we were just saying, it's got to be a stupid mistake by I Was Here Tomorrow to throw away potentially a race 2 win as well.
Well, actually, 16 seconds is not a lot of time in endurance racing, so I don't think he'd even have to make a mistake. Both Zovo and I Was Here are quick drivers, so in theory we should actually have a very good battle tomorrow, since they are still very close.
So it's just between then, in your eyes, the two Peugeot drivers there?
Oh no, certainly not. I think Glenn has a chance as well with the performance that Mento's put in. Sure, he's not within like 5 or 6 seconds of Ninchin, but it's still under a lap, and all it takes is one mistake.
It's not under a lap, the gap's 2 laps now.
It is.
One
is
lap.
it? Yes, maybe it is. But still, I think that Glenn Al still has a chance of obviously an overall podium, and I believe he can still fight for victory if he has a decent run tomorrow.
Well, looking at then the set times, TOL Immortal 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths even in places faster than his teammate.
Yes, and Mento having another off there, trying to get past Pikey Mikey, so he's made another call.
Well, Mento's not having the best of days lately, is he?
Similar issue.
He's not having the best of times at the moment out there.
No, but luckily he hasn't lost too much time with these two spins, so hopefully he can just keep it on track for these last few laps.
Well, and it could be due to the fatigue coming in place for the last few laps, because these drivers now have been raced flat out for 1 hour 57 minutes, and surely now then they'll be getting tired and their arms starting to hurt.
Yeah, and Amada there went rally crossing once more on the last corner. He's had a tough run today. It's a shame, because he's definitely got the speed and he's got a very good car underneath him as well.
Here comes Immortal, past Alves, past Armadri, goes straight into the pit lane. Is he now then just retiring from the race in 8th position?
I don't think he should, no, because
With only
David
6 laps to
could
go,
still-
it's not worth it.
David could still get through and make up laps, so he wouldn't be doing his team any favours if he were to park it now.
Down comes Immortal again here then. It's coming up to this turn 3 section, this tighter section, there's 3, and it's now there's kind of longish and tight at the same time, turn 4, and then down the hill with this high elevation change, and then he flipped the car into this turn 5, and then this turn 6 seems to be my favourite corner on the whole track. It's just a little dimp up over the brow.
Yes, all the corners on this track provide quite a nice high-speed thrill for the drivers on Gran Turismo and of course in real life, so I think this track could become a fan favourite in the Gran Turismo series once the drivers have got used to it. At the moment, the track has kind of been said, oh, it's too hard and I keep crashing, but if it stays around in the series and people get used to it, I do believe it will become a well-loved member of the Gran Turismo roster.
Well, they come in again then. There's Red Bull Rider now in full position. There's a car off as well. It's Duke Adam again, this time mounting one of the bumps here. So again, more mistakes there to play by Duke Adam.
Yeah, seems to be having a very tough run today. Not sure about the future of Class Clowns Racing. I know he's supposedly lined up Johnny B 1990 for tomorrow's race, who races on a part-time basis as a reserve driver. It remains to be seen whether Class Clowns will continue at Laguna Seca, but I'm sure we'll find out more on that as the fortnight gap develops and we'll find ourselves in the paddock at Laguna.
Yes, and there's Alex there going pretty slowly against the fast charging Red Bull Rider there in 4th position, holding some good strength today in that Pescarolo.
Yes, and Red Bull and Chozza 32, his teammate, they make a good dynamic because Red Bull is consistent and he's got a decent pace as well, and then you have Chozza 32, who is a very, very quick driver and will always push like mad to try and secure the best possible position for his team.
Can they challenge their area for a race win later in the season?
I am sure they are capable of it. If I recall correctly, on the core Facebook page, Chozza 32 made his intentions clear in an interview. He wants to do as well as possible in the LMP category this season. So I'm fairly sure that a win could still be on the cards for them at some point during the season.
Right, and when they come here then, the 2 hours has been completed now, but we will go then until the end of the race. 116 laps is scheduled, or 114 for the actual race due to the two we got taken off earlier on, and we still got Immortal leading, Ninchin second, Mento 89 third as RS. Big slide there in 5th position, Red Bull Rider 20 there in 4, Pikey Mikey in 6th, Nico Demis 7th, Armada 8th, David Big 9th, Duke Adam 10th, and then Fortboy retiring from the race down there in 11th.
Indeed, that is the order at the moment, and RS definitely still pushing. I mean, I would have thought with the gap he has to Pikey Mikey that he'd just relax a bit and take the result as he has it, but no, he's...
Oh, well, remember what happened to Senna in 1988. You ease off, and you could well bin it once you get into that flow.
Indeed, it can happen to the best of them, so it's always good not to completely cruise around the last few laps of the race.
Now then, just kicked up in your face then, like we saw then with Armada on TL Immortal a minute ago. Does that put you off slightly because you feel like having to brake to avoid a car?
Oh, it simply has to be a distraction for the drivers. I'm fairly sure that some of them may just ease off a little bit because they don't know what's going to happen next. Perhaps once the car's back on the tarmac and the driver puts the power down, it could loop round again because of a lack of traction. So it's
yeah, and getting wheel spin off the corner.
Yeah, of course. So they've got to be careful. They've just got to know that it's possibly worth losing half a second to a second in one lap rather than collecting another car and causing major damage at this late stage. And we've only got 3 laps left here as TRL Immortal carries on, still going at a great pace here. And he only set his best lap 2 laps ago on lap 111 with a time of 1 minute .962. So he's still pushing as hard as he possibly can here. And he probably will give his teammate I Was Here a good gap for tomorrow.
Is Immortal again then coming through this long turn 2 section, closing up on some traffic in front, in fact 2 bits in front, and one of Nico.
Yeah, Nico Demus definitely standing out there in the, well, Canary by name and Canary by nature BMW, and he goes off in it as well.
Well, I know coming in again, is that Mento in front then, so he's about to go 2 laps down, that's not what he wants.
Question is, will he want to concede that? Maybe he doesn't quite want to go back that far down. He's already nearly 2 laps down. It's basically 2 laps, but perhaps he'll try and hold that position.
Well, they come in again then. He has gone 2 laps down now then. And we've got Rebel Rider 4 laps. And then the rest of the field 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. And then Fortbo starts 78 laps down tomorrow, his teammate.
Yeah, so ignore the data that comes up on screen. He's not actually 2 laps down yet. He's 1 lap and, well above 3/4. It just resets when they get to the start-finish line.
Yeah, because if he's gone past and he hasn't, then it will register as 2 laps, not the 1.
It briefly comes up with 1 lap, and then it goes to 2 laps again because Immortal's past the start-finish line again. And of course, he's only got 1.5 laps to go now, does the German driver. On his first ever WEC race, he looks set to take the Saturday race victory.
Well, and they come here then up towards the section. TL Immortal closing very rapidly now then on the back of Mento. We're on turn number 9. And TL Immortal about to start his final lap. Lots of wheel spin there coming from the back of Mento's car, going through turn number 1. And this is now not what Mento wants then. It's to go 1 more lap down now. So
I have to wonder, he's an aggressive driver. I do have to wonder, perhaps he will try and keep that position.
Well, by all means is what we're saying.
He probably will. I mean, there's nothing a driver wants less than leaving his teammate 2 laps down for tomorrow's race. And as we enter the last couple of corners here, he still hasn't yielded to Immortal. So Immortal's going to take the win, but it looks like he might have a Bentley right in front of him.
Well, here we go then. Is Mento going to defend TL Immortal? No, not quite yet. Mento just sticking his line in there, but as they come around turn number 9, it's TL Immortal for Peugeot. Off he goes, but he's going to do it across the line. He's going to win race 4 or part 1 of round 3 of the Core WEC Championship right here from the Willow Springs Raceway. Checkered flag is out in a winning time. 2 hours, 6 minutes, 45.473. 2 hours, 6 minutes, 45.473. Second there, Ninjin, 2 hours, 4.640. 2 hours, 4.640. 19 seconds behind. And that is then, Adam, the end of a fantastic race.
Yes, and in the GTE battle, we have RS96, who came out on top by quite some margin ahead of Pikey Mikey and Nico Demus. And it's also worth factoring in P24 tomorrow, as Armada isn't too far off either. Tomorrow should be a very good race.